mountains of trash, soda cans in the ground, straws in the beach, and plastic everywhere on the beach or in the streets. Ladies and gentlemen, what I give you example of today, modern era, where every day, everywhere, we see a lot of trash in our society. We see a lot of trash being around in our environment. How do we not care about our environment while we're living in this earth? We live in the place that a lot of trash can be seen anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, this kind of problem is really important to be told and really need to be bring up the case. Why we living in earth that we should we protect from the trash that lead to environmental causes and damage. We want the best for our places, such as, for example, that trash can make such a disease. You can have a disease because the trash and the environment is not healthy enough. The unhealthy environment that you create because a lot of trash that not being recycled enough. And that's why we, as the pro team of the affirmative team, we want to propose you to ladies and gentlemen and honorable judges that we want to criminalize person or individuals that do not recycle. Before moving on, I want to give you a definition that what means criminalize. We want to criminalize means here, we want to give sanction to people who do not recycle. We didn't say that criminalize in here, we make them a criminal. No, we just give the sanction for these people. And then what is recycle? Recycle is, as for you all know, that is an act of converting your waste into another thing. Alright. Moving on to my first argument, why will we justify this proposal and why that proposal need to be up and need to be applied in our society right now. First argument, my first point is the individual waste first. I'm gonna say and talk about our individual waste, such as plastic that every day we use and every day we throw away, every day we scare away, that cause a lot of damage to the environment, such as you can see in the beach, a lot of straw, plastic that harm the animals over there. You can see a lot of picture in Instagram or Facebook or in the media that you see a lot of people photo and give how many struggling the animals are, how that they choke the straw, they strangle over a plastic, etc. These individuals such as plastic or food waste that make a disgusting smells or even it will rotten away. It harm our environment even though we don't realize it. Might be our brand, organization and company have a lot of big waste. It's of course the more individuals in organization, then the more individual waste that being caused. And then for the company, especially for industrial company, of course they have industry waste such as gas, water pollution, etc. that may lead to the background or my status quo that a lot of polluting and harming our environment. And that's why, considering we talk our protein, considering we talk about the harm and the risk that may cause us for this such an act that people seem doesn't care more or less about trash because they doesn't have a sanction yet, or they doesn't have a consequence of what they act. Even though the consequence will go to the environment, they don't feel the consequence because it's not from themselves. So what we want to propose here to make them aware for the environment that today our society have been through. And that's why we propose this, and we feel it's justified enough to protect our environment for the sake of our future life. And that's why we we think it's justified enough, and we think it's really a good idea to criminalize these people who do not recycle. Because why? Because recycle is a thing that you can reduce and you can make a creative way. You make converting waste such as plastic to make a bag, or to make a plastic to make a case. It's really pretty creative and help the people to make another economic income. Even though the economic income is not much, but it's still a good income. It's still give an income for these individuals, and that's why we feel it's justified enough. And looking at the positive from this motion, we have seen it's really justified enough, and it's fair enough to say to give criminalization to them. And for the second argument, moving on my second argument for my first principal argument, that about the mechanism, what kind of mechanism that we will give in this kind of motion. So we want to apply this. We want first we want to divide them, grouping them as individual waste and the organization or the industrial waste. Why? Because we want to give a sanction based on this grouping. So individual recycle focus on more smaller scale, such as plastic and food waste that can make to be a case, or that can make to make stuff that can be made from the plastic. And then for the industrial waste, we want this industry have that waste such as gas or water, food waste, or the food industry is be recycled to the point that it not harm our environment. And that's why we want to divide it from groups, so we can more easier to give the sanction, as we say in my first argument. And the B in the second point about what is sanction is. So as for individual, we believe it's better to give sanctions such as community service, such as cleaning, or giving awareness, giving material about why it's important to take care of our environment. This is why we choose this kind of sanction, because we believe that this kind of sanction will give the more awareness to people, and the community service give also not only the person that gets sanctioned is burned enough, but it's also have the good such as cleaning the environment around his place of house. And then for the organization and industrial sanction, that we want this sanction to pay a lot of money, or they can be sued by law for the environmental causes damage. And that's why we believe that this mechanism is good enough for the motion to be applied. And as for Limbag, why we want Limbag, our principal argument have proven that it's justified enough. Why? Because about the harm and the risk. Secondly, about the mechanism, we fair enough not giving all of them the same sanction, but we divide this sanction to make sure these people will not burden for this kind of motion. And that's why, Judge, we believe this motion should be proposed. I close my case. Thank you.